Rain Brown, the youngest member of the Brown family, grew up in the wilderness of Alaska, far from the modern world most people know. Born on November 23, 2002, her full name is Merry Christmas Catherine Raindrop Brown, one of the most unusual names in the family. Fans of the Discovery Channel series Alaskan Bush People quickly came to know her as Rain, or even Bush Barbie, a nickname she embraced because of her love for pink and Barbies. She grew up surrounded by her parents, Billy and Amy Brown, as well as her 6 siblings, Matt, Bam Bam, Bear, Gabe, Noah, and Bird. When the show debuted in 2014, Rain was just a young girl. Viewers watched her grow from a child into a teenager, admiring her bright smile, positive outlook, and the close connection she seemed to share with her family. For many fans, Rain became a symbol of lightheartedness in the often serious and rugged world of the Alaskan wilderness. She stood out not only because of her personality, but also because she represented the innocence of childhood, on a show where survival, family unity, and hard work were usually the main focus. As the years passed, however, reality TV fame brought challenges Rain could not have imagined. The little girl with the bubbly personality was now becoming a young woman in front of millions of viewers. With every episode, social media post, or public appearance, more attention came her way. But with fame came a harsher spotlight. Viewers and critics alike began paying attention not only to her positive traits, but also to her personal struggles. Behind the cheerful television image, Rain's relationships with her siblings and her own battles began to surface. What seemed like a happy family on screen was not always as perfect off-screen. Although Rain often appeared happy and playful on television, her relationships with her siblings were sometimes complicated. A point of tension began when her brother Noah married a woman who shared her name, also called Rain. The coincidence caused more conflict than many expected. Rain Brown reportedly did not like sharing her name with her sister-in-law, and their differences eventually spilled onto social media. Noah posted a picture with his wife, adding a caption that many fans interpreted as a subtle insult toward his younger sister. He seemed to suggest that his wife was more mature, while Rain Brown was still childish and protected from the real challenges of adult life. While such family disagreements might seem small, the drama began to grow over the years. By August 2024, the conflict had turned serious. Noah and his wife filed a request for a restraining order against Rain, accusing her of harassment, stalking, and even making violent threats. According to court documents, Rain allegedly mentioned firearms during heated exchanges, which left Noah and his wife fearful for their safety. They asked the court to keep Rain away from their home, their children's school, and to force her to surrender any firearms she might have owned. Some of the accusations were shocking, including claims that in 2022, Rain suggested her life would be easier if Noah were dead. Another incident in 2023 allegedly involved her threatening to shoot a horse after a disagreement. There were even claims of drug and alcohol use, with Noah accusing Rain of offering their mother cocaine for a migraine. Despite these serious accusations, the judge denied the restraining order, saying the request lacked enough detail and contained errors. Still, the accusations left a mark on Rain's reputation, and the drama between siblings was far from over. In early 2025, Rain Brown found herself in the spotlight again. But this time the focus was on her personal lifestyle choices. The debate centered on her use of marijuana. While Rain is legally allowed to use marijuana in Washington state because she is an adult, some fans and critics expressed disappointment. Photos and social media posts led to discussions about whether she was being responsible or setting a bad example. Some fans came to her defense, pointing out that many people her age experiment with marijuana and that it did not automatically mean she was addicted or in serious trouble. They argued that Rain had the right to live her life, and that her personal choices should not be judged so harshly. Others, however, felt that the habit reflected poorly on her. They described her as unstable or uneducated and worried that marijuana could worsen other struggles she faced. The debate highlighted a larger issue many child stars experience: the challenge of growing up under constant public attention. Fans who once admired Rain as a sweet young girl were now forced to see her as an adult making her own decisions. This contrast made some uncomfortable, as it became difficult for them to separate the TV character from the real young woman. The situation intensified in April 2025, when Rain's brother Noah again became involved. He called the police and requested a welfare check on their mother, Amy, and Rain. He accused them of using meth and claimed that Rain and her husband, Josiah Lorton, were providing it. Noah told police he feared for their mother's health, since she was already struggling with pneumonia and needed her prescribed medication. Officers attempted to investigate, but their findings were unclear. Rain responded angrily online, denying all allegations and insisting that she and Josiah were not involved in drugs. This back and forth deepened the divide between the siblings and their fan base, with some people believing Noah while others sided with Rain. Just when it seemed the family drama couldn't get any worse, Rain and her husband Josiah Lorton were arrested on April 11, 2025, in Okanogan County, Washington. The charges against them were serious: burglary in the first degree, malicious mischief, and criminal trespass. The case involved Josiah's uncle, who accused the couple of breaking into his rental property and stealing valuables. The list of alleged stolen items shocked fans and investigators alike. It included $75,000 in cash, $85,000 worth of gold coins, expensive bottles of wine and champagne, several firearms, and even a marijuana bong. The property was also reported to have suffered around $5,000 in damages. According to Josiah's uncle, Josiah had previously helped him hide these valuables during his divorce. This made him believe Josiah knew exactly where to find them. Neighbors backed up some of these claims, saying they had seen Josiah and Rain on the property. Some even reported seeing them with firearms that matched the stolen ones. The couple was booked into jail but released without bail a few days later. Rain addressed the accusations on Instagram, posting a Bible verse about judgment. She suggested that lies were being spread about her by a former manager and asked her fans to hear her side of the story before judging. Her post, however, left many questions unanswered. Some fans expressed support, believing Rain was being unfairly targeted, while others wondered why she and Josiah had been arrested if they were truly innocent. In late April, both appeared in court over Zoom and pleaded not guilty to every charge. For the moment, the case remains unresolved. Still, the arrests damaged Rain's image further, as critics labeled her unstable, while supporters insisted she was being unfairly portrayed. In May 2025, Rain made one of the most serious revelations of her life. She went on TikTok and claimed that she had been abused by her brother Noah when she was younger. At first, she spoke carefully, not going into detail, but over time, she suggested that the abuse included sexual assault. She explained that she would never describe every detail, but even acknowledging it publicly was a heavy step for her. Rain said her late father, Billy Brown, never knew about it, and she believed that if he had known, Noah would have been kept away from her. She insisted her other siblings and mother were also unaware. The statement shocked fans. Some people believed her immediately, while others were more skeptical, pointing to the ongoing family conflict as possible motivation. Rain pushed back, saying she would never lie about such a serious issue, especially about her own brother. She reminded fans that the Brown family had always appeared close, so making such a claim could only damage her. This, she argued, showed she was telling the truth. Her admission brought new attention to her already dramatic situation. It added another layer of tension to her conflict with Noah, who quickly denied the allegations. He claimed Rain's accusations were false and motivated by a desire to damage his reputation and hurt his ability to keep custody of his children. Noah even shared screenshots of messages he claimed were from Rain, suggesting her behavior toward him had been inconsistent, sometimes supportive, other times threatening. The family conflict, which had already been messy, now seemed nearly impossible to repair. Noah Brown did not remain silent after Rain's accusations. He took to TikTok to firmly deny any wrongdoing. In his video, he described the claims as false and harmful. He explained that Rain was born after the family had left Haines, Alaska, and that during her childhood, the family often lived in tight spaces such as boats or small cabins. According to him, Rain never slept alone. She shared a bed with either their mother or her sister bird, and often other siblings were close by. Because of this, Noah insisted there was no time or opportunity for the abuse she described to have taken place. He admitted that he had already said more than his lawyer advised, but wanted to defend himself against what he believed were lies that could destroy his life. Noah also brought up Rain's legal troubles, suggesting that she was using the allegations as a way to shift attention from her own problems. He described the situation as heartbreaking and insisted he was focused on protecting his children and working with his lawyer. After his statement, the rest of the Brown family remained quiet. None of the other siblings or even their mother spoke publicly about Rain's claims. The silence added to the mystery. Some wondered if it meant they did not believe Rain, while others thought it showed the family wanted to avoid adding more fuel to the fire. The lack of public support, however, left Rain isolated in her fight for acknowledgement. Rain was not satisfied with Noah's response. She released another video where she insisted that her brother's denial was not evidence of innocence. She reminded her audience that abuse is often hard to prove, especially when it happens in childhood and in private. She also revealed that the abuse was not just sexual, but included physical and emotional harm. According to her, one result of Noah's actions was permanent nerve damage in her right shoulder. Though she did not go into detail about how this happened, she admitted that there were no photos, videos, or screenshots that could serve as evidence from that time. But she offered to take a lie detector test if that was what it would take for people to believe her. Rain expressed deep frustration at being constantly judged and treated as if she were lying or simply troubled. She also said she did not want to press charges against Noah. Instead, all she wanted was an apology. She explained that part of her hesitation in going to court was her desire for healing rather than punishment. In her words, she wanted to stop the conflict, end the hate directed at her, and find closure. The emotional honesty in her videos resonated with some fans, who expressed sympathy for the pain she described. Others, however, continued to question her claims, pointing to the timing of her accusations during a period when she was facing legal troubles of her own. Rain acknowledged these doubts, but insisted her only goal was peace. Looking back at Rain Brown's journey, it is clear her life has been far from ordinary. Growing up on a reality show meant that her childhood was shaped not only by her family and the Alaskan wilderness, but also by millions of viewers watching every move. While her early years on Alaskan Bush People showed her as the bright and cheerful Bush Barbie, adulthood brought challenges she never expected. From public arguments with her siblings to serious legal charges and painful abuse allegations, Rain has been at the center of constant controversy. These struggles have tested her resilience, but they have also shown her determination to defend herself and share her side of the story. Rain has admitted that life behind the cameras was not as perfect as it seemed. She has been open about her own battles with alcohol as a teenager, and how difficult it was to grow up under so much pressure. Despite this, she continues to fight for her voice to be heard. Whether people believe her or not, Rain's story highlights the cost of fame, especially for someone who was introduced to the world as a child. Today, Rain's future remains uncertain. Her legal cases are still unfolding, her relationship with Noah remains deeply broken, and her image continues to be debated among fans. Yet one thing is clear: Rain is no longer the little girl fans once knew. She is a young woman carrying heavy burdens, trying to find her place in a world that has often judged her more harshly than it has understood her. Rain Brown, the youngest member of the Brown family, grew up in the wilderness of Alaska, far from the modern world most people know. Born on November 23, 2002, her full name is Merry Christmas Catherine Raindrop Brown, one of the most unusual names in the family. Fans of the Discovery Channel series Alaskan Bush People quickly came to know her as Rain, or even Bush Barbie, a nickname she embraced because of her love for pink and Barbies. She grew up surrounded by her parents, Billy and Amy Brown, as well as her 6 siblings, Matt, Bam Bam, Bear, Gabe, Noah, and Bird. When the show debuted in 2014, Rain was just a young girl. Viewers watched her grow from a child into a teenager, admiring her bright smile, positive outlook, and the close connection she seemed to share with her family. For many fans, Rain became a symbol of lightheartedness in the often serious and rugged world of the Alaskan wilderness. She stood out not only because of her personality, but also because she represented the innocence of childhood, on a show where survival, family unity, and hard work were usually the main focus. As the years passed, however, reality TV fame brought challenges Rain could not have imagined. The little girl with the bubbly personality was now becoming a young woman in front of millions of viewers. With every episode, social media post, or public appearance, more attention came her way. But with fame came a harsher spotlight. Viewers and critics alike began paying attention not only to her positive traits, but also to her personal struggles. Behind the cheerful television image, Rain's relationships with her siblings and her own battles began to surface. What seemed like a happy family on screen was not always as perfect off-screen. Although Rain often appeared happy and playful on television, her relationships with her siblings were sometimes complicated.